Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Tech Minute. I'm Joel Brazy, and we're on part three, the final part of the three-part series, Audio for Conferencing. This week, we're taking a look at speakers. Without speakers, you're not going to hear anything. Amazing. So we're going to look at what types of choices are out there and why you need to look at them and evaluate them separately. There are three main types of audio designs in conferencing. You have point source, typically used for smaller rooms or in video conference situations, that drives the end users or participants' attention towards the display. So typically those speakers are sound bars or line arrays or small pendants that are mounted on the front wall, either next to, above, or below the display. Then you'll have distributed audio conferencing or distributed audio that are speakers most likely mounted in the ceiling, but they can also be pendants. Those are for larger spaces, spaces where you're trying to address larger crowds, not only large conference rooms, but also town hall spaces, cafeterias, things like that, gymnasiums. You'll see that distributed audio because if you just use point source, everybody that's sitting close to those speakers is going to be blown away because you need to crank those speakers up to get enough sound to fill the room, much like a rock concert where you sit in the front of the auditorium and it's screaming loud, but if you're in the nosebleed seats in the back, it's much more manageable and you can talk over the music. Then there's the combination solution, which is really my favorite, that has point source audio and distributed audio as one system, and it's selectable or it's unified, and it also introduces a DSP algorithm called mix minus. That means the farther away you are from the microphone, the louder the audio is. The closer you are to the microphone in the real estate of the room, the lower the audio is. So it is programmed so that audio is balanced throughout the room depending on where the speaker is. And that's for local reinforcement, meaning you're pushing the speaker's audio or the presenter's audio back into the space that you're in. So in distributed audio speakers, again, on the left, you have the ceiling mounted type, you have the pendant mounted type that would be wall mounted typically, and then you have the hanging pendants that would be hanging from the ceiling. I don't use hanging pendants very often unless you're in a warehouse space or really high ceiling space. You really want to be 12 foot or above to get the best use out of them. I've seen some really poor applications of them, and they're a specific type of speaker. They need high ceilings, they need lots of room to distribute that audio throughout the space. On the right, you have a couple of examples of point source, line arrays, and sound bars. Sound bars are in the commercial space are relatively new to the design. Line arrays have been around for a longer period of time. They both work equally well. Line arrays can also work in large spaces, and sound bars typically don't go out that far, so they're more suited for huddle rooms. So the other type of audio that I didn't speak of yet is the table speaker, which is, you'll see it on conference phones, but you'll often see a microphone and speaker unit package. That's another form of point source audio because it's all emanating from that space to cover the whole room and all the users within the room. Then on the right, you have the single soundbar concept, and down towards the bottom, you have the dual line array that flanks the displays. In the distributed audio, use some math. So there are plenty of programs that help you plug in the dispersion of the speaker, how wide it can disperse, if it's 120 degrees, if it's 90 degrees, so that you can create the space and have overlapping lobes. That gives you can see the circular lobes in all these designs. That will give you even coverage for all the participants in the room. So it might have been a little bit technical, but that's an overview of basics in audio design. Again, you need to do a needs analysis and a budget analysis. You need to find out what your users want out of the space, what they're trying to do. If there are multiple zones within the space, it can get very complex, or it can be a very simple design where you just are focusing audio for the user sitting at the table and they just want it to turn on and just want it to turn off. You can do that as well. Again, if you need any more help, we have a design team that's happy to help you put this together. You can reach out to me or any of my colleagues at any time. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk with you next week. Take care.